Well, since it's winter time, every weekend is spent either skiing or snowmobiling. Usually up for anything, so if somebody suggests something, I'm in. When I found out I had bladder cancer, I mean, like most people, the fear of death. I had 4 young children that I didn't want to leave, that I didn't want to destroy their life by dying. So that, what went through my head was my children. I had a 3-year-old that would not remember me for the most part. I told my kids straightforward, me and my husband told my kids straightforward that I had cancer, that cancer can, they all know cancer can be fatal, but that we thought it was something that can be controlled and that we would get through it and everything would be okay. The diversion I chose was the Neobladder. To be honest, I was on the fence to the day of the surgery. I kept on going back and forth, back and forth. My biggest fear with the Neobladder was the option that it could fail and that I would have to catheterize. Didn't know if I could handle that for the rest of my life. However, the other option with the bag and everything, I realized that my physical appearance means something to me. I get up out of bed every day to work out because it means something to me. And I didn't know if I could handle that either. So the one was only if it failed was the problem I had. The other one was a day-to-day issue of physical appearance, my self-confidence. So I chose the Neobladder. I have a fear of being addicted to prescription drugs like painkillers and stuff, so I tried to avoid those as much as possible just out of a personal fear. So I probably made it more painful on myself than it had to be. But yeah, I found the surgery to be very painful. It made childbirth seem like a walk in the park. But I mean, it was something, the alternative to not having surgery was dealing with cancer. The recovery process, I remember the majority of it lasting 6 to 8 weeks. It was a lot of rest, which I'm a very active person. I'm usually on the go. I'm very involved in my kids' lives. To step back and rest and not be involved in their lives to the extent I wanted to be was difficult. I had the advantage that 6 months prior to being told I had cancer, I adopted my 4th child from Russia, which took me to Russia for 3 weekly trips and 1 2-week trip. And my mom would come into town and help. So when I went into surgery and through my recovery, my mom was there, but it was an established routine with my kids and my family. After surgery, during the healing process, I had to catheterize. Catheterization was one of my fears with the Neobladder. Yes, it was a struggle at first, but by the 6 weeks, it wasn't something I enjoyed, but I could see that if I was forced to do this for the rest of my life, it was something that could become common and not a big deal. I was probably back to my normal level of activity in 3 months. The first exercise, I started out slowly and built up, probably because I pushed the boundaries a little bit. I started out walking. Avid walker, have walked marathons. So I got back on the treadmill was the first activity I got back to. In the 3.5 years since I've had surgery, I have not had any side effects requiring medical attention, infections of any sort that's required any medical attention. My day-to-day life is the same. I have problem with bladder control during the nighttime, which forces me to wear a Depends every night. But on my day-to-day basis, it's the same. I mean, yes, I take it into consideration. I have to be mindful of when I go to the bathroom. It's not an automatic feeling. I have to track it. I have to track sort of my intake of fluids, but that's all done mentally in my head as I go throughout my day, running errands, running a small business, being a mother to 4 kids. I mean, it just becomes part of your day. It's basically every 3 hours I keep in my mind that I have to go to the bathroom. I have to fit it in the next 3 hours. So I went to the bathroom when I got here at 10 o'clock, so I know by 1 o'clock I should be thinking that I have to go to the bathroom. I used to, for the first 2 years, wore a watch with an alarm clock. But after a while, I found I was going with or without the alarm clock on my own, so I stopped wearing it when it broke. If I was to look back on the experience and change anything, I would have accepted more help from people that offered. Friends and family were there, very supportive, offering to help, to do as much as they could. I would have taken them up on the help more than I did. It's, not very common in my age group. Not many people have it. It's not something I bring up and make public knowledge that I've had. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not embarrassed by it. It's not an issue.